Hey guys, it's Instructor Shane. Um, One of my assignments is a prerequisite to get into the active self-protection instructor cohort class was to make a 5-minute video about my mission as a firearms instructor and my goals for the class. First, a little bit about me. I am the Chief Staff Instructor at Defensive Tactics and Firearms. Um, I've been teaching about 3 years, and believe it or not, I never planned to actually be a firearms or use of force instructor. I was a Marine for 13 years, and that really doesn't translate a lot into what I teach. And it took me a while to kind of figure that out. When I started kind of down this journey, I've been out of the Marine Corps for about 2 years. Went to the range, and at the range, have you ever seen unsafe gun handling practices? Kind of scared me a little bit. So where I shoot, they have a little paved instructor range, and I was like, hey, how do I use that range? From there, I took the NRA Basic Pistol Instructor course and kind of realized, hey, I might be able to make a buck or two doing this. I know you're never going to be rich being a firearms instructor. 3, 4 years ago, I ended up starting my own company with the help of our chief instructor and my mentor, Morgan Ballas. Soon after I started my company, he ended up buying out my company and bringing me on as his lead rifle instructor, which never really turned into the lead staff instructor, and now currently the chief staff instructor. Um, yeah, never planning to get into this. I didn't really know what I didn't know. I thought the Marine Corps kind of taught me everything. It wasn't until I took a course with John Correa during his Survive the Fight tour when I realized how much more there was to subject matter material and what I didn't know. So from there, I got my NRA certifications. And then from there, I went to Masada Ayub Group, MAG Deadly Force Instructor. I attended Range Master, be a Range Master certified instructor. And then just recently, I became an NRA training counselor. People I've worked with and who've influenced me in the industry, Morgan Ballas, John Correa with Active Self-Protection, Steve Fisher with Sentinel Concepts, Tatiana Whitlock, Masada Ayub, Marty Hayes when I did Deadly Force Instructor, Tom and Lynn Givens when I went to Range Master. John Correa with Active Self-Protection made it a personal goal. I think 3 years ago. His goal was 200 hours of continuing education. I personally, from that goal I set my own goal of 100 hours of continuing education. So far to date, the last 2 years, I've been able to meet that goal with not a lot of resistance. The big thing when we talk about firearms instructors kind of in general, and I've seen it time and time again, we have what we call FUD instructors where they don't really know what they don't know when it comes to teaching. I've seen instructors that teach severely outdated techniques and thought processes just because they probably obtained their credentials in the mid to 1980s, and they never really took any continuing education to learn. Me personally, I'm a lifelong learner or student, and I learned that from John Gray and Tom Givens. My destination is when I'm dead and in the ground. Until that point, I'm on a journey to be the best instructor and best self-defender and student I can be personally. People I've worked with in the industry, John Correa, Masada, Marty Hayes, Tom Givens, Lynn Givens, Tatiana Whitlock, Steve Fisher, and, all these people have influenced me as an instructor at some point. Masada Ayub and Marty Hayes really taught me what I didn't know when it comes to the law of self-defense and use of force. And courtroom strategies for legal defense teams. John Correa taught me how to put statistical data and evidence into to make that really drive curriculum development in what I teach. Um, Tom Gibbons, and Lynn Gibbons really set the gold standard in the industry. um, Tatiana Whitlock, I trained with her, or I took her intermediate pistol course, and she really didn't teach me anything I didn't know about actual shooting. I learned so much more of how to teach and things I saw her do and ways she could verbally communicate to students for them to visually and mentally get ideas and concepts she was teaching. Steve Fisher, I took his critical handgun employment course. I believe the beginning of 2019. It's the first course I've ever failed as a shooter. That was very humbling. And talking with Steve about his curriculum and things like that, he's like, it's designed to make you fail. How can you be better and know where you need to work until you've been pushed to your failure point? So when we talk about the mission I have as a firearms instructor, I take what I do very seriously and to heart. The way I see it, my students are entrusting me with their lives, and what I teach might end up saving their lives in a use of force encounter, but more importantly, it might keep them out of the courtroom or jail. So with that being said, my mission as a firearms instructor is to educate and touch as many people's lives as I can with proper curriculum, techniques, thought processes, and bring the best thought processes back to my students. With attending this course, I really hope to work on communication skills, things of that nature, curriculum development, adult learning theory, so that way I can really bring back a better education, not only just for me, but things I can improve on as an instructor for my students, as well as instructors that I am now currently mentoring to be better instructors. So thank you for the time, and have a good one.